Mama sat in front of that vanity, and I curled her hair.
Really?
And she had these clips to make waves. And at the first, that's what she did. She had waves on the side and over here, and I curled the rest of it. I gave her all her perms, and Debbie, I gave her all her perms. She would come, and I would fix her hair every week. And I gave her and Mildred and Mama, I gave them their perms, and Shirley. Anyway, Debbie would come. It was so funny, and you got to remember, Debbie was, she had her own way about herself. And but she was sweet. She was so sweet to you all, and to Becky and Mark and Mike. They were the ones that were there. And she would say, "Now I'm going to do something for you that for you fixing my hair." And I said, "No, Debbie." I said, I don't mind at all to fix your hair. And you know what she would do? If we had clothes fixed to have to iron, she would get an armful of our clothes and take them and iron them. And one time she made me, she could sew like crazy.
That was a big thing. There was no such thing as no iron clothes back then. You had to iron everything.
You're mine. I would have died.
Put starch in them and sprinkle them down. And we would put them in this basket that had plastic around it and cover that, pull that plastic out to keep them damp. And then it would take a day to iron all that stuff.
Monday was ironing day, wasn't it? No,
Washing day.
Washing day.
You wash
And
one
Tuesday
day, and
was
next day
ironing
you
day.
iron.
That's how it was. And they had these wire stretchers that you would put in the pants legs. In the men's pants, and women didn't wear pants. And they dried on those stretchers and they put a crease down the center of the
I
pants
remember
legs.
seeing pictures of that.
And
When I went to
it looked
Concord
funny, those
College,
pants hanging up on those stretchers.
and when I started teaching, we couldn't wear jeans or pants. And finally, they said that we could wear pantsuits. They had to be dressy pantsuits. And then we could wear them to school.
They had these little
when I taught.
things about that big. It had a cork stopper on one end and looked like a miniature shower head on the other end. And you could stick them in a pop bottle. You fill your pop bottle up with water and you put that in there. And you used it to sprinkle your clothes to dampen them before you ironed them on the iron board. That was when you used electric irons. Or before that,
You had the heat, the other
you
irons.
had those big irons that you set on the stove
to get it hot.
and let them get
The old
hot.
cook stove.
Nowadays your irons have steam in them.
Yeah,
they
they
have
do. You don't have to
now.
You don't
So
have
they
to
can
sprinkle.
sprinkle.
sprinkle your clothes.
And they also made big nipples you put on the end of a pop bottle and use them for baby bottles.
Wow.
Stretch
Yeah.
them over. Yeah.
Feed the babies, you remember that?
And then they had
Use a pop
spray
bottle.
starch
Use pop
that you could starch up, like the shirts and stuff that you wanted starched. Mama had these curtains in between every room, showed it on the inside and then on the outside. And they were flowery, and she had these hooks at the top of the door facings that would fold back, and you could fold the curtains back if you wanted to, or you could fold them in and they would cover the doorway. A lot
Was
of
that to
people,
keep the heat in, or?
and a lot
and
of
it
times
was just like
they didn't have doors.
They
didn't
had
have
doors
doors.
between the rooms.
And she would, when we would spring clean, we would wash those, and she would heavily starch those.
Yeah.
They had a liquid starch
real
that they
stiff.
mixed.
Yep. Stay
And,
flows.
and you didn't have dryers, so you had clotheslines, and she'd hang those out.
And
And we would
Niagara
sprinkle
starch.
them down. Yeah, that's what it
That was
was.
one of the. Do you remember the lace curtains? You washed them and you put them in the starch, and then you had to stretch them on a frame to let them
Oh, my
dry.
goodness.
They had this big wooden frame, and it had little pegs, little nails sticking
on my
out of it,
video.
and you had to hook those curtains on those nails across
Turn
the
that way.
top
Get your
and
feet
the
on my
side.
video.
Stretch
Ooh,
them
Rihanna,
out,
stop.
and let them dry stretched out.
I remember seeing my mommy do that so many times. cause we had lazy curtains at the window.
Yeah. You had to put them
My
on.
mom still starts as her curtains, don't she? Kim?
Starts
Yes,
with
ma'am,
rain.
she does. And those curtains could, Rihanna, stop. Those curtains could stand up by themselves if she put them on the ground.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yes, they
Yeah.
do.
Still
That's
starts with her
it.
curtains.
And they start men's shirts like that, the collars and the cuffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember Grandma and myself.
Rihanna, this is
It
the
would
running a
take
moment, okay?
us forever to iron
Put your
those
feet that way.
cause we had to iron them.
Mm-hmm.
And her floor, her tile was the kind of tile you had, it was paste wax that you would get down and put on that tile
Yeah, I remember using paste.
And then buff it.
and buff it and they would shine.
Mm-hmm.
And it would, and you didn't do it every week. You didn't do that maybe every 6 months.
If you had linoleum, you had to mop them and let them dry, and then you liquid wax them. And with
We
the
used
wax
to use
mop.
Future. I remember that. When we were
Yeah.
teenagers, we'd mop and use Future wax,
Mm-hmm.
that liquid.
Yeah.
You just pour it
Yeah,
on there.
we
and
did that in the kitchen in the
And
hallway.
you had to let that dry good before you walked on it, or it'd be a
If you didn't,
mess.
it would be sticky. It would
Yeah,
show every print
It
with it.
makes scuff marks.
Well, we've come, the world has come a long way.
Thank goodness we don't have to have frames to stretch our curtains all the time.
But all of that was a lot of work
It
and
was
a
a
lot
lot of
of
work.
time. But back then, time was all you
We
had.
didn't have
Right.
TVs.
You didn't have nothing.
Right.
And I remember in the evening, you didn't have your TV. And, you know, if you wanted to read, if you had books to read, that was fine.
Yeah.
But Mom and I would go out and we would sit on the porch and just watch people going up and down the road.
And the old timey people would sit on the porch and tell stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mama still sits on the porch and watches people walk down the road, don't she?
Mhm.
When it's warm enough.
Mm-hmm.
I wish.
But she got rid of her TV a few years ago.
But see, conversation used to be a big thing,
Yeah.
and families were closer.
Yeah.
But now they live in the same house, don't talk to each other. If I need Riri, I have to message her on the phone to come downstairs, please.
Do what?
If she'll, or try to call her if she'll answer.
And David comes down and fixes his food and goes back upstairs.
He said that he
But
has
now,
to call you to get
he'll
hold of
come
you
and
in the
eat
same
at
house.
the table. We
But his room's
table.
downstairs now.
Yeah.
Candace has said in the future, if we ever get another house, or if when she gets a family and has kids, she wants to be all on one floor.
One floor,
Yeah.
everybody
All one
together.
story, because a lot of
Yeah.
times when you have the kids' bedrooms upstairs, they end up, they
Yeah.
don't hang out with the grown-ups, they hang out in their
Well,
room.
but also then, if you've got little ones, you don't have to worry about them falling down the stairs. And then when you get
Right.
older, you don't have to worry about trying to climb all the stairs.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you're right about that.
I had this little thing built.
See, Donnie and I used to sleep upstairs all the
Right.
time. The only person that slept downstairs was Mom.
Mhm.
And
I had this little thing built at the top of the steps so the little ones wouldn't walk out on that ledge and
Right.
fall off.
Right.
And Riri tore it off.
Oh,
She didn't know
Rihanna.
what it was
Hey, I
for.
tore it up because it was.
She
I
didn't
thought it
know.
was for storage, cause you had stuff down inside of that.
I didn't make it for
Yeah.
storage. It just caught everything. We just started throwing everything in there.
when we
But that's the
stored
reason
that
you did
ladder
it,
in
But when
kids
she
wouldn't
tore it
walk
down,
on
we
it.
found stuff we hadn't seen in years.
What all did you find, man?
A gun.
It was just garbage.
Was it
just
Jesse
thrown away
James'
through
gun?
Oh,
years.
it was
No, there actually
radio.
was a gun.
It was probably your radio that played
Radio.
music to wake you up in the morning.
I
Yeah.
used to have a clock radio.
Yeah, clock radio.
And
Was
there
there
was
an old
tape recorders, old
tape recorder in there? Cassette.
Mhm.
What else was there?
gloves and hats.
I'm not a papa.
It was for the kids when they was little.
The people that used to live there, Mr. Taylor, one of his granddaughters, she's old,
Mhm.
but she messaged me some on Facebook,
Mhm.
and she asked if we ever found any moonshine in the walls, and I said, no. And she said years ago they used to make it, sell it there. they kept it and sold it there. They kept it hid.
That explains
I
all those
didn't
closet
find
doors.
anything like that. I asked her if they ever had any paranormal experiences there. And she said she wasn't sure. She would try to ask some of the rest of them.